For the Zoom folks, would you please comment in chat? Would 4 or 5 of you comment? Can you hear me? Of course, if they can't hear me, how do they know to comment, right?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, good, thank you.
Got a yes, and a sure can, and a yes, and a thumbs up.
Oh, good.
Okay.
That's great. That's
Loud
great.
and clear.
Good. Every month, some of our members are here very early to set up the Zoom, to set up the tables, the refreshments, it's not a raffle. The other Zoom person, they're here before I get here. So thank you guys for your constant service. Well, welcome to our February 2024 Cross Timbers Master Naturalist chapter meeting. We're glad to see a good crowd here in person, and I'm seeing 33 participants there on Zoom, so thank you all for being here. This is our first meeting back of 2024 because it was a little cold and freezing a month ago, I believe. So and that was during the stock show, and those of us who've lived here forever know that we're now having fake spring, and there will probably be one more freeze. So if you haven't lived here that long, just be prepared, right? That's Texas. I have a few announcements to start with. Next month is our awards and recertification and milestone ceremony and celebration. And that will be in person only. And we hope that as many of you who are the new trainees who have become certified or completed training, those of us who are, I heard the word seasoned again the other day, who have been around and have recertified or have some milestones, we hope we'll see you in person. It will not be a training meeting, so there won't be any AT, but there will be cake. So that makes up for it, right? Yes.
You don't have to be receiving anything. You can come and cheer them on.
That's right. Exactly. Exactly. And eat cake and laugh with us. And I don't know if we'll tell any stories, but you never know. Yes, anyone is welcome. And that'll be on March 18th, right here. And that is the day that I am bringing our chapters package of eclipse glasses. Each chapter in the state received 50 pair of eclipse glasses. And if 2 of you are here and one of you is sort of our mascot because you're not old enough yet to be a member, the first 50 people who are here will get eclipse glasses because our total eclipse is on April 8th. And I don't remember the day or the hour, but just Google it. I know Botanic Garden here is going to do something, has some special programming if you're a member of the garden, and I'm sure a lot of other folks will too. And I believe it's our last total eclipse in my lifetime. I'm pretty sure that, you know, it's going to be like 50 years again before the next total eclipse comes through this area. It is a Monday. You know, you know, I don't know, different schools are doing things. So ask your school if they're going to do something, and if not, play hooky. All right. It's for science. We have a few events coming up, but I am going to wait to talk about those events until we have our program. And Mary Beth, if you'll come and introduce our esteemed guest speaker, who did this presentation at the state meeting last October. So she's definitely esteemed. Thank you.
Okay, we are very happy, pleased, delighted, lucky, fortunate to have Kakkie Cunningham here. Oh, and I was gonna tell her to stand in front of the microphone, and here I am. So Kakkie has been working with butterflies, Monarch Butterflies for years, and she's gonna share her knowledge with us. You can read her bio. She is a very dedicated person, consistent, responsible. She's been a member of her church forever. She's an accomplished musician. She plays the piano, the violin, she sings, she plays handbells, and she sews, yes. She's a very accomplished seamstress. How many seamstresses or seamsters do we have in here? Okay, so we admire her skills. She can do something make her own pattern. If you can make your own pattern, that's amazing. I got to know Kakkie and her good friend Ellen when Sharon and Kimberly Sasson went to the annual meeting at McAllen in the fall, which was delightful. So I highly recommend it. It's a little pricey, but annual meetings are great. So I guess when you're doing this, you can do the microphone like that way. And another tip, got to beware, mind the microphone, like mind the gap. And when someone asks a question from here, please repeat the question. So I'll bug you about that. Okay. And let me get your presentation up so you can go ahead and start.
We're going to start with a true and false question and answer. So put your thinking caps on. Go ahead and do that and I'll do this. Okay, I've got 11 questions. They're not trick questions. They're not trick questions.
There, we can see you.
Does that work? Okay. Monarchs do not have a sense of smell.
True, false.
True, false.
False.
False. They do. They have brush feet and they smell through their feet. Number 2, monarchs have fantastic vision.
False.
True. They have good vision as well as excellent feet. There is no way to distinguish females from males. False. Correct. In this, that's not that one. The one that was up, if you saw the little black pouch on one of the wing veins, that indicates that one is a female. So male. Sorry, I said that wrong. Is a male. Scales on the monarch's wings can absorb warmth. True. Not all butterflies have 4 wings. False. Butterfly feet are called tarsi. True. Oh, this came out of this kid's book. Also, it's a monarch butterfly, but it's got a lot of great information. It's got a lot of great information in it. And I would recommend that you put that in your library. It's not really expensive, $12.99 or something like that. Monarchs lay eggs on top of milkweed leaves.
True.
False. False. They curve around and put it underneath.
Oh, yeah. Trick question.
On top of the pot. There are over 300 species in the world whose caterpillars depend on milkweed. That's true. Monarchs making the return trip back to the north are capable of surviving the entire journey. False. Milkweed is toxic to all critters except monarchs. No, that's true. It's true. Okay, my presentation is called Monarch Magic, and if you'll just bear with me, it was an awful lot to try to memorize, so I'm going to kind of read it. It all begins with one egg being laid on the underside of a single milkweed plant leaf. Mother monarch never lays more than 1 egg per plant. Now that's kind of hard to believe. She never lays more than 1 egg per plant. If there's not enough suitable milkweed for her to lay all the eggs she is carrying, she simply stops laying and the eggs dry up within her body. The eggs are very sticky, thus allowing the egg to remain firmly attached to wherever until they hatch. Next phase is larval life. Once the eggs are laid, it takes only a few days for the tiny larva to hatch. The egg sac it just emerged from is its first meal. The next item of business is to eat a hole through the leaf so that the tiny caterpillar can crawl underneath to gain protection from both the elements and predators. For the next 2 weeks, these critters munch voraciously on milkweed. During this early development period, yellow, black, and white stripes develop, tiny tentacles form, and the caterpillar goes through a very rapid growth period. After each molt, which we know is just old skin shedding, the caterpillar will eat its former skin for extra nutrition. And by the final molt, we're not really sure how many molts. Several books say one thing and other books say another. But anyway, by the last molt, the caterpillar has grown up to 2,000 times its original size and has molted at least 5 times that we know of. Oh, that's okay. Okay. During this early development period, yellow, black, and white stripes develop, tiny tentacles form. Did I already read that? Sorry. At this point, it's time to secure a spot to go into the chrysalis stage. Just before the butterfly ecloses, which is a fancy word for hatches, and that's for some reason that is low. I mean, it's attached to the monarch butterfly. It will draw air through its spiracles, which is holes in the chrysalis shell, to pop the case in order to emerge. Just prior to the final emergence, you can see the black body and colorful outline of the developing wings through the opaque skin of the chrysalis. Next phase is what I call magical metamorphosis. By this time, the full-grown caterpillar is ready for a complete change or metamorphosis. It climbs under a sturdy surface, and using its spinneret, it spins a silk pad and then holds on to that with its last set of legs. The caterpillar then hangs upside down in a J shape, and after a day, the caterpillar goes limp. Beginning at the head, its wrinkled skin begins to split. The caterpillar wriggles out of the rumpled skin one last time before becoming a glorious green pupa or chrysalis. The term for this final transformation is called pupation. Now, the next phase is anatomy of a chrysalis, so you'll kind of understand how this happens better. The silk pad, caterpillar spins this pad so it can hold on tight. Cremaster, C-R-E-M-A-S-T-E-R, is the hanging caterpillar pokes his sturdy body part into the silk pad that he just spun on the underneath side of the leaf. Spiracles are small holes that allow the developing monarch to breathe through the skin. Abdominal sections, there's just what it says, abdominal sections. Gold dots. Now this I found interesting because I didn't know this. I knew that monarch chrysalises had gold dots, but all milkweed eating butterflies have either gold or silver specks on their chrysalises. I didn't know that. That's a worldwide thing. Scientists are not sure whether these have a specific purpose. So good for nature. Yeah. Scientists don't know how to explain that. Wings. You can see the colorless wings of the developing butterfly just minutes before it pupates. In the last phase, chrysalis to butterfly. Tiny scales begin to form color on the wings when it's almost time for a butterfly to eclose or hatch from the chrysalis. Just before that, monarch draws in air from the spiracles so that it can pop the case and crawl out. And that was mentioned in one of the earlier statements. The butterfly then clings to the case with crinkled wings. Hemolymph, which is insect blood, I hope I said that right, is then pumped from the body into the wings. The wings then unfurl like beautiful velvet. The monarch then hangs out for a few hours before flying off to find its first meal of nectar. Monarch versus queen, they're totally different. There's a picture somewhere of that. But if you'll remember that a queen has wings, both set, they all have 4 wings, but the 2 sets of the queen is almost even. Whereas in the monarch, it's a very defined difference. So, like to go over some fun stuff at this point. I mentioned this book. This is Monarch Butterflies. That's all right. I'll just walk up this.
Or
Okay.
I'll hold it if you want
The
to.
Monarch Butterflies. This is a book that I just accidentally found. I read about it. I think it was in a AAA magazine, a book for kids. And I thought, okay, I got to check this out. And it is a very simple, easy to read book, but it explains the complete cycle of the monarch. So that's just lots of fun. Do what?
Anne
Anne
Hobby, Hobbie, illustrated by Olga Baumert, Baumert.
It was like $12.99 or something. You can get it on Amazon. That's where I got it. One thing that you need is a really good butterfly net. These are available online. This one has an extendable handle, so it goes way on out. It adjusts, but make sure when you buy one that hopefully, I know this is hard.
I feel like we need Vanna here.
There we go. When you buy a net, you can buy them online. I got this one on Amazon, but you need to make sure that it says soft fabric. Polyester is better than nylon. Nylon is scratchy and nylon has more fibers in it than this soft polyester does. So, and this one completely folds down to nothing and goes in that black bag. So that's something that you need.
So which one is better?
Soft polyester, yeah. The nylon has a tendency to be scratchy. This is what?
It's an insect cage.
It's an insect cage. This way. I need marks on the floor.
There you go.
Okay, there we go. There we go. All right, this is a collapsible and it's got a strap that goes around it so that you can carry it flat. Insect cage. It has a hand opening here. Then it also has a zipper top here. So the neat thing about that is you can catch multiple monarchs, put it in there. They are all going to gravitate towards the top. Then when you get ready to tag, you can do it this way, or you can try to do it this way. But the hand thing is very convenient, especially when you're catching them one at a time, tagging them, recording the tag, and then letting them go. So, and there again, like I said, it completely collapses.
You can also buy those on Amazon or sometimes museum gift shops.
Right. And this is a little bag of stones. And why would we have a little bag of rocks? Do you know?
Keep it from blowing off.
You see how this is? I learned that the hard way with about 12 butterflies in
Yeah,
it.
you gotta show them.
It's very lightweight. And I learned this the hard way when it was rolling away with butterflies in it. Thank goodness everything was zipped and it didn't hurt any of the butterflies. So this just goes in the bottom and you can pick it up and carry it and drop it and nobody's hurt. Yeah, I came up with that idea after chasing it across.
You sewed that, didn't you?
I sewed it. No, but I modified it. I put pockets on it. This is, believe it or not, this is one of the gimme bags that you get at conventions, that type of thing. And so I put zippers on it and it had the little side pockets. But this is so handy because all of this stuff will fold up and fit in this one bag and it's not heavy. I put a better strap on it. So. Then, are y'all familiar with Native American seed? Okay, if you're not, please get on their mailing list and get one of these. This is a great resource. It has all kinds of seeds that work in Texas, natives only. So, and there's a gorgeous picture that they have of the monarchs at that point. So,
And I believe the owner of Native American Seed is a friend of the chapter from many
he
years
originally
ago.
lived near here. Yes,
Yeah.
that's correct. That's correct. So at this point, I've covered everything I have. Does anybody have any questions that I might be able to answer? Yes. Oh, didn't, okay. So I forgot this.
Oh, go ahead.
This is kind of a weatherproof carrying case. It has all of this stuff that you might need. I use that sometimes to highlight. Now, in tagging monarchs, using these little tiny little tags, you saw the picture of it, but I keep forgetting. So I finally developed a system. It's okay. It's just, I finally developed a system. If you buy little flat toothpicks, then you can roll the flat end of the toothpick under the little tiny dots. Here, they're the dots. I knew I had some. The little tiny dots. You see how small they are.
If we pass these around, are y'all safe? We'll have them at the end? Okay. Thank you.
So anyway, I developed a system to roll the dot off and then roll it onto the monarch. And and the monarchs just go limp. Once you get them in the little clamp in your hands, they're very easy to tag. Yes.
Where on the monarch's body do you put the dot? Could you repeat the question, please?
Yes. The question is, where on the monarch's body do you put the dot?
We'll see that in the pictures.
I started to say, I think I have a picture of that. Thank you for reminding me. There are specific places that they want it because sometimes only the wings are recovered. The bodies aren't. And so if it has one of the Monarch Watch tags on it, they take that back to Monarch, send it back to Monarch Watch. Interestingly enough, too, I found a really good article about what happens to the monarchs once they get to Mexico and how they gather all the tags. They actually pay the people in Mexico to go out and gather the tags, to recover the tags. And so that provides an income to them, and it also helps science. So, yes.
Still $5 per tag that they pay them?
Um,
That's what I heard.
I don't know what the latest rate is. I didn't tag last year because they didn't get the tags out to my area in time. So I didn't get to tag last year at all. So,
Very valuable to them anyway.
yes, they do pay.
Oh,
They do
to the
pay-
registered email. What email did you use?
They do pay for the people to pick them up, which I think is really, and that the Mexican people the people in Mexico are really enamored with the butterfly, with the monarch butterfly. They have festivals when the monarch is actually rotating down to those trees where they hang out. So I think I've covered everything. Does anybody have any other questions? Yes.
How do you get in this network? What do you do? Who do we contact?
monarchwatch.com. If you'll just search tagging monarchs, it should take you straight to that site. You do pay for the kit, which is fine with me because you're paying for a scientific effort to be carried out. Yes.
Since I captured the cats and brought them in and went through tons of milkweed trying to feed them and released several monarchs in the world outside. And I just wondered what you thought. I've read since then that that's not such a great idea. So I just wondered what your opinion was.
I researched that because I thought it would be a lot of, repeat the question. Can somebody repeat the question because I was listening? I'm sorry, this is new to me.
You're doing great. The discussion and the question is about whether we should capture caterpillars, raise them on our own, release them. There may still be ways you can buy different butterfly caterpillars, and the question is this helpful? Is it safe? There is some kind of parasite that some of the monarch caterpillars might contract. So tell us what you know. And
I don't know very much about that. There was a lot of information on that last year, but I noticed in researching just a little bit this year, that seems not to be as much of a problem as they thought it was going to be, or perhaps, I don't know what the answer is, but there's not as much concern over that as there used to be. It's not mentioned in many blogs anymore as much as it was. So it's possible that has died down as a disease.
What I had heard was that when you do that, they're not as strong as monarchs that are actually.
In the wild. That's probably very true. That's probably very true.
You want to show us on your photos?
Yes. What did you tell me to hit?
Sure.
He told me, but I'm not. I'm nervous, y'all. I'm
It's
standing in
okay.
front of a group of my peers.
You're great. You're great.
Jackie, we can't do what
What the
you've
heck's
done.
going on here?
You've done it and we haven't.
I don't know how to stop rehearsing. Anyway. Oh my gosh. See, I mess up. Okay, so
Here,
here,
just hit that.
yeah, just hit that. And let's move this guy out of the way. I'm not very good at this. Okay.
I'm really good with the camera in my hand. That's where all these photos came from. But other than that,
Okay, just hit that to go.
hit this.
That goes forward and this goes backwards.
Okay.
On those little tabs? Do you know why the words do not use are?
Yes, it's just to fill the page because it's hard to print. You know, they print only so many per page and they're all numbered in sequence. And so when they have an extra one, they just print do not use this tag because it doesn't have a number on it. So they just want you to know not to use the tag because I'm sure,
Not very helpful.
well, some people may think it was a tag and get it on the butterfly and then that butterfly doesn't have a tag. So.
One of the tags actually has a number, but it still says, do not use on it, so.
I have no idea.
Because
I don't know.
we were curious, but
I don't think I have any leftover tags or else we could look at those tags. I don't think I have any left. So,
maybe it was used by somebody else.
I don't know.
Not really clear.
All right, so let's make sure am hitting the right thing. This is two monarchs on zinnias. You can kind of tell. Whoops, it's not shifting. That one right there.
You can hit the down. How'd you get that?
We're only laughing because we're glad we're not up there. Get up there.
I am not a technical person, okay?
That thing is not moving.
The right arrow button.
Not not working.
Are you in full screen? That's the problem with full screen.
It is not working. No, it's not working. Can I come out full?
Let me see.
Woo, yay, male or female? Wait, male or female?
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, this isn't even a monarch, but I wanted to show it to you.
Oh.
This is a queen. You see how rounded the wings are. And if you'll notice that the center one happens to be a female, the center butterfly is a female, then the one to the side of that, if you'll notice, can you see it on there? It has a little pouch. The next butterfly has sperm pouches on that same vein. So that it's a female and a male right next to each other, which that's a rare picture, I'm sure. Okay, let me see if I can make this work now. There we go. Yay! This was some of these pictures that have zinnias in them were made at the Wild Seed Farm. It was a cold, rainy, terrible day, and all of a sudden the sun came out and monarchs came out of nowhere. It was really a very unique experience. It's another one. Now that one's a female, you can see because there's no sperm pouch. That one is a male. You see the sperm pouch on it, the heavy thickness on that third vein over. It's on the third vein over, this right here. So if you look, it's a little bit off of that line.
And that's the male?
That's the male. Male has the
Males
sperm
have a
pouch.
little extra.
There we go. These these butterflies were going crazy, and I know I have a lot of these shots, but it's just fun to take multiple shots of monarchs. There's another one you can also see in that one. You see the sperm pouch down on the bottom of, towards the wing, bottom of the wing. You see this right here? Here's another good picture of a male. And these are extra photographs, but I couldn't resist throwing in a sequence of a black swallowtail. So that's the caterpillar. There it is going into the chrysalis or the J form. What? It's actually crawled onto the Russian sage after demolishing the fennel plant. It was on a fennel plant. It mowed the fennel plant down and it's crawled across the sidewalk and it's on Russian sage to pupate. It's a spinneret of some sort, but I don't.
That's amazing.
Yeah. You have to look really hard on this picture. I don't know. Can you see the caterpillar? Yeah. I mean, the chrysalis, it's right here, and then here are two of the spinnerets that are holding it in place.
Wow. Turn it back to the, see, you can see it really good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What's it called? J
Looks like.
position?
Yeah,
pieces of
J
plant,
position.
But it's not.
And like I said, it's not a monarch, but I couldn't resist throwing those in because you don't normally get sequence pictures.
That shows it really well.
See, this shows it really well. Here's the head. There's the antenna. And then these are the wings right here that are all crumpled up. You can kind of see the outline of the wings.
And you took that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I did. I'm better at photography than I am this kind of stuff. Now you can see it's changed colors. You see the colors change? You can see the darkness on the wings. There's the next stage. And there it is, it's gone. It's the empty shell. So that was great fun. And there it is. I found it later that afternoon in the rosemary bush.
How much time did it take?
3 days, I think. It was 3-day sequence.
Another question.
Oh, yeah. What was it? Yeah, repeat the question.
Repeat the question. They wanted to know what the time frame was in that whole sequence. And it was 3 to 4 days. What?
10 days.
No, this one was really fast. It didn't last long. Normally, most books say 10 to 12 days, but sometimes if conditions are right, I'd have to look at the dates on it, but
Temperature dependent also.
Yes.
The warmer it is, the
Yes.
faster it'll happen.
and this was mid-spring. This was mid-spring, if I remember correctly. But normally it's 10 to 12 days for that whole sequence. Yes.
How about if they form a chrysalis like later in the year? Does it overwinter?
It can overwinter. Most of the time, the caterpillar knows that winter is coming and it usually crawls into a crack or a crevice and it'll go into chrysalis there. And then when it gets warm in the spring, it will eclose. So there's all kinds of hidden facts about butterflies and how they function and how they survive. It's just amazing. Any other questions? Yes.
I just raised some Gulf fritillaries in a cage like that.
Mhm.
I put the passion flower in there.
Yes.
It's fascinating to me how they're a caterpillar and then all this stuff comes over them. Can you comment on that? Can you repeat that?
Okay, the question was, you see it as a caterpillar, you know that it's big and it's fat and it's getting ready to go into a chrysalis, but I have never in all of my butterfly gardening, and I've been doing this since 2012, I think, in all of my butterfly gardening, I've never seen it happen. I've seen the caterpillar crawl off and be on a bush. And then when I come back from the dentist, it's already, yeah. So there's a lot of books out there, and this little book that I mentioned on the monarchs talks about how long it takes. But anyway, any other questions? Yes.
What are have you found, and you live in Fort Worth,
Mhm.
what are the Monarch's favorite nectar plants?
You cannot go wrong with golden crownbeard.
All right.
They
that 2 or
fall-
3 times real slow.
Cowpen daisy is
Cowpen.
cowpen daisy and golden crownbeard are the same thing. Different people in different regions call it by a different name, but cowpen daisy or golden crownbeard. I've been around golden crownbeard at my family's lake property since I didn't know what it was. I mean, I was an adult before I finally figured out what that plant was. Every butterfly that crosses Possum Kingdom property will fall out of the sky for golden crownbeard. And it's a real easy annual. You just let it go rampant. If you don't want it, pull it back up, chop it up, put it back down in the ground. It will produce its own seeds. It can take over, but you can't go wrong if it's attracting butterflies, in my opinion.
When does it bloom? What time of year?
It will bloom from the minute it gets hot all the way up till it freezes.
Oh, that's great.
So depends on where, but yes.
What species or type of milkweed do you recommend?
Repeat the question is, what type of milkweed do I recommend? I have not had good luck with milkweed, period, paragraph. I have swamp milkweed in the lot at home in a parkway, and the butterflies will use that rampantly for nectar. And I have seen leaves missing, but I've never seen the caterpillars that destroyed the leaves. So, and a lot of the milkweeds are very difficult to transplant. If you have better luck, if you will gather the seeds, put them in vermiculite, dampen the vermiculite, put it in the freezer for 3 or 4 days, pull it out, put it in the warm for 3 or 4 days, put it back in the freezer for 3 or 4 days. And it's just a hit and miss as to whether it germinates. So my swamp milkweed has almost covered the whole parkway, and that's fine with me. It says this beautiful little flower. And there are some of the brushfoot butterflies that will eat that milkweed. The caterpillars will eat it. So, yes.
I have been on the Monarch Watch website. They're out of Kansas. And they've had some turnover and they are grateful to have donations. They will sell milkweed, but they'll sell it 50 plants at a time. So if you know a few other people, maybe, some of you will get 50 plants because you've got 10 gardens to take care of, but some of us don't have that much energy. And so maybe a few folks can get together, but if you will check that Monarch Watch, it may be monarchwatch.org.
No, it's a company.
Is
.com.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a
So
company.
anyway, thank you.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that's where you can buy already germinated Monarch Watch. Do any of our NIPSOT people are y'all ever successful with milkweed?
Come to our plant sale if someone wants to.
Come to their plant sale, and so how would we find out about the NIPSOT plant sale for?
On our website.
It will be on the website, and this for Cross Timbers. I'm thinking might be some folks that are not in Fort Worth. This is the North Central chapter of the Native Plant Society of Texas, the North Central chapter. It's very confusing because the Cross Timbers chapter of NIPSOT is west of here. Okay. North Central chapter, Native Plant Society of Texas. Glenda.
Also, our Western Gardens sells.
Weston Gardens in East Fort Worth sells milkweed.
Okay, every member of CTMN and everybody that subscribes to our newsletter announcement, everyone that's a member of NIPSOT will get an email telling them about the plant sale.
So if you are on the ctmn.org email list, then you will get an email about the plant sale. It's usually in early April.
In May this
It'll be in early May this year. And Frank, if someone is not on that mailing list, they will contact,
Well, if they're CTMN,
but what if they're not?
if they're not, we'll send it to,
Pick one that you read, Frank.
well, webmaster.
Send it to webmaster@ctmn.org and say you'd like to get on the email list for our newsletter. And that'll get you the NIPSOT spring plant sale announcement. That's webmaster@ctmn.org.
So the date for that sale is actually May 4th. It's on a Saturday and it'll be in Arlington.
The date of the sale is May 4th, a Saturday in Arlington. Sorry.
That's okay. That's not a problem. Does anybody else have any questions?
So you tag, how many butterflies do you tag? And then tell us about when you go look to see if they were found in Mexico.
You can go to their, no, they are trying to establish a website now to put recovery tags on that website for the general public or for taggers to be able to go in and see if any of your butterflies have been tagged. That is still not in effect. So, unless you're just happen to know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody and it gets back to you, it's difficult to.
About how many do you tag?
My highest year was, I think, 51 butterflies.
Wow.
And I mean, yeah, 51. And I used all of my tags. It was too late to order more. And the science teacher from Stripling Middle School was spending his lunch hour sometimes. I'm within that block from Stripling. And he was very interested in my rustic butterfly garden because it is rustic. I mean, it's rustic and it has everything, but I mean, I've got all kinds of critters in it. So he would come down on his lunch hour, and one day he came down and he had tags in his hand and he said, "Do you need any more tags?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm out of tags." He said, "Here." So that's the season that I tagged as many as I did. And all I did was send them a note on my sheet, which I may have a copy of that sheet, but you have to put your tags down and then you have to enter it on the website so that they know what tags were tagged where and then when they're retrieved. So he gave me his tags and I sent a note to monarchwatch.com. And they said, "Thank you for letting us know. We'll transfer those numbers into your name so that when you send those in, we'll know it was truly you." So they have it's a very small resource company. Sometimes it's hard to get answers, but they are doing a good job of trying to help educate the public to general things that are around them.
Do
So
you have a slide that shows a tag?
somewhere,
Yeah, coming up.
Just go forward.
this one.
Next question, how do you hold the butterfly with the leg?
There's a picture of the dots.
Of the, yeah,
Of
those
the-
are the tags,
Those are
right?
the tags and you
You're
see
gonna
the
a picture
toothpick.
of that in just a minute.
You're gonna show
Yeah,
us. you're gonna show us-
Frank did a good job of putting some of my
Cause I was
pictures
gonna
down.
have this
Yeah.
simulated monarch butterfly for her to hold.
Yeah. So
Very-
the yellow dots are not usable, but then all of the dots, you see the toothpick under that one, they all have individual numbers. There's the toothpick. I usually use a plastic toothpick because it lets go of the adhesive easier. And I just roll the toothpick underneath it, get it ready, then I catch the monarch, get it in my hand, and then I pick that up and roll the tag onto the monarch. I did this all by myself, so it was hard to get a lot of pictures, but there's one that I just took out of the enclosure. I'm getting ready to tag it. And there it is, tagged. And if you'll see the location of the tag is over what's called a discal cell. But if you look at a plain monarch, you'll notice that that cell looks like a mitten. And that's where you put it, is you put it on across that discal cell that looks like the mitten. And there he is, ready to go. And the interesting thing is that's a picture of the first monarch I ever tagged. And that monarch stayed with me all afternoon. He was within 2 or 3 bushes near where I was tagging all afternoon. See, there he is.
That's
That one's a female, yeah. That's golden crownbeard or cowpin daisy. Now this is very difficult to see, but you can see it when it's on a small screen. That's a monarch fallout. And that happened close to dusk one evening as I was arriving at the lake. It was about 49 degrees, 50 degrees, but they had gone as far as they were going to go and they didn't want to cross the lake. And they were on lake edge property. And hundreds fell out of the sky onto those mesquite trees. It was amazing. And of course, it was a bad photography time because it was dark. I went out the next morning and they weren't warmed up yet. So I kept going out, kept going out, kept going out. And finally, one by one, they just kind of trailed off on their own little time frame. But all of those funky little things you see aren't always mesquite leaves. A lot of those are butterflies. I mean, there were hundreds of them that night. And that's probably a very rare viewing. I was very fortunate to be at the right place at the right time on that. So any other questions? Yes.
Questions in chat?
You got a test, I think when you gave us the test at the beginning,
Yes.
one of the questions was, are milkweed toxic to just monarchs or other
It's
critters?
that, yes.
And it was only to others, no other, it's only not toxic to but monarchs, right?
That's right. Monarchs is the only critter. I've got to reverse it. Okay.
Start saying the denning.
Monarchs are the only thing that can tolerate milkweed.
Did you say that some other butterflies were also eating it? That's why they had the gold flag thing?
Are those different, are those species of monarch when you said,
When we talk about the genus, the noun,
okay,
because that's this picture, one of them is monarch, the queen, and the soldier, and they all can tolerate the milkweed.
so there are some closely related butterfly species that can tolerate the milkweed. I have heard a talk, because I went to someone who wasn't Kakkie one time, sorry. And the milkweed is slightly toxic to the monarch caterpillars, but they can tolerate it better than any other butterflies.
That's interesting.
Protection of the caterpillars from predators.
Right, yeah, the predators want to stay away because they've got this body
Very
full of
interesting.
milkweed toxin in them.
We have a question online from Denise about the technique for catching them in the net.
It's hold it out, stay 8 to 10 feet away from them and do a swoop and then close your net. And you don't hurt the monarchs. I mean, it took me a long time to say, how am I going to do this? I'm going to kill them. I know I'm going to kill them, but they are very tough little critters. But on the crownbeard, when it's blooming and the monarchs are coming through, I mean, I'm talking about I have patches that are this tall and I can walk up to a patch, let all of the monarchs settle in and then go whoosh and catch 7 or 8 in one fell swoop. I mean, it's like a kid actually running with a butterfly net catching critters. So
On chat, we have other sources for the milkweed. Painted Flower Farm in Benton and Western Garden.
good to know.
And order it from Joyful Butterfly, maybe.
Right.
They can see that.
Yeah.
That's all.
So does it hurt the scales when you hold it?
Actually, if you clamp it correctly, you don't even remove any of the scales. And I mean, you would not believe the grip those little monarchs have. Because I was trying to tag one time and I was holding it like this and he got a hold of my finger and it was like, what do I do now? And you just kind of have to wait and roll your fingers out from underneath it. So they say that they lose scales, but I've never had any scale transfer in the way that I handle them. So don't know how to answer that. Yes.
The entomologist here at the Tropical Butterfly Exhibit told me when we first had our training, I don't know if they're still doing it, but to use your scissor fingers.
I tried that and I couldn't manipulate. I couldn't.
Because this one's the firmer grip. So
Yeah.
if you're gripping one or catching one, catch it with this one.
I tried that and I couldn't do it.
You do have to hold
Yeah.
it down.
Yeah.
To tag them. don't
Right.
worry.
Right.
I share that question.
Pardon me?
Repeat the question.
Oh, the question was, there's two different holes to use when you're tagging a monarch. One is a scissor hole with the wings between the two fingers, and the other is this way below the discal cell. And I try to do, when I do it like that, below the discal cell or above the discal cell, so I can put the tag in the right place, I have stabilized both sets of wings. I'm not sure I could stabilize both sets of wings this way, but
And you use gloves for this?
no, tried, didn't work. I tried rubber gloves one time that fit my hands really well, and it was sticky to the scales. And I thought, no, we're not doing that. So, yeah, that's what I was using, the surgical gloves. I mean, it won't hurt you. And if you clamp them correctly, like I said, I never moved any of the color cells off. I never had any residue on my
Clean
hands.
hands so that you don't have lotion on your
Yeah.
hands. Yeah.
Yes.
Can you explain how they, retrieve the tags? Is it harmful to the butterflies?
They retrieve the tags when the monarchs get to Mexico and they're dead. That's their last trip to Mexico, to the fir forests, and they actually die from those trees and fall off of those trees. I mean, the trees don't kill them, but that's their last trip, and they make the last hurrah on this beautiful fir forest of a specific tree because it offers them some nectar, some sticky nectar, from what little I had been able to find out about that. But then when the butterfly dies, it's all in one huge field, because that's where most of them go. It's on a mountainside. I have that somewhere. Well, I had it somewhere, but it says that they all kind of stay in a cloud when they migrate. And so they go to the same forest. They've been going to the same forest every year along the side of a mountain range. And when they die, and the natives go out and collect them and turn them back in.
Where the other new butterflies come from?
They are produced from the last generation heading south that lays eggs, and then they hatch in the spring. So the butterflies will continue to lay eggs all the way down to Mexico, and the eggs can stay dormant, and then they hatch and they head up north when it's time for them to. I've not been able to find that out. They don't share that information online.
I'm wondering, how do you mark the coordinates, or when you put a tag on the butterfly, do you have to put coordinates where you get the butterfly?
The only thing that they require of the citizen scientists that are doing that is the zip code where you caught or where you tag the butterfly. That's the only information. They want your home address so they know how to coordinate, but they always ask for a zip code. And since I have a home address and a lake address, they have those two zip codes. And so they know that I tag under two different territories. They go all the way up to the edge of Canada, from my understanding. They cover the entire United States and the lower part of Canada.
And years ago, I think I saw an IMAX movie at the Fort Worth Museum of Science and History about monarchs. And the gentleman who started the tagging program, they were trying to find where they went in the winter. And that's how this area in Mexico was discovered. Unfortunately, as you can imagine, the numbers are down. And partly the numbers are down because across the swath of the United States where there's farming, there is less, I guess, edge for milkweeds, because I'm trying hard not to be political, but you know it's going to come out. You just know I can't help it. Because industrial farming is so effective at what it does that there's fewer wildflowers for the milk for the monarchs to land on, and the numbers are down. We just got to keep working at it. Miracles happen. Pesticides is another one that's a problem. And you know, every once in a while our species gets smart and figure something out, and so we'll keep working on that.
I do know of something that I just learned about recently, several months ago, is I'm always worried about where milkweeds come up and how they're protected with all of the farm crops that we have, especially cornfields and that kind of thing. And I did read a very refreshing, I don't even remember where I read it, but the corn farmers are now using equipment that cuts the corn off above anything that grows on the ground. And so the milkweed that's coming up in the cornfields is now remaining undisturbed because the farmers have changed the way that they harvest corn.
Oh, yay.
So, and I was totally amazed at this article. I don't remember where it was, but I did investigate it, and that was a true statement. So, yes. What? A lot of the Midwest farmers are now not using harmful pesticides for insects.
Genetically modified crops.
So oh, yes.
Butterflies, the monarchs, they head south and they lay eggs on the way, and then when they get to that particular forest, they just basically go there and die.
That's correct.
So it's just
Right.
kind of a mouse.
It's my understanding that there's 4 generations of egg laying, both coming down and going up. So it's, you know, it's a real interesting process, but yeah. If anybody wants to look at this, this is my 2021 sheet of tagging monarchs and where it was tagged and that kind of stuff. I'm never gonna learn that.
There's a camera.
I'm never
right?
gonna learn
You're
that.
already better at it than me.
If I ever do this again, I'll remember. But anyway, this is my spreadsheet, but this is the format that they send you to use in very small form. So with my older eyes, I made it bigger so I could see it.
Thank you so much, Kakkie.
Thank you.
Thank
We're
you.
gonna save them one garden at a time.
One garden at a time, we'll save them. That's it's kind of like that starfish, right?
Exactly.
Yes, thank you. And your toothpick idea is really great.
I'm good at inventing stuff when I can't handle things.
Yeah. All right, so we got some announcements. If you want to make an announcement, raise your hand in just a minute. There's a lot coming up. We're getting close to our busy month, which is April. Before that, I know that Keep Fort Worth Beautiful is going to have a trash cleanup on Saturday, March the 23rd. If you participate with that, there's a line in the volunteer opportunities about habitat cleanup. And that's the one you'll use if you're doing your local area. They also have an earth party, and this year it'll be at Sycamore Park on the east side. So we'll be, Cross Timbers will be there representing. There's going to be a Glenwood Park on the east side cleanup on Saturday, April 6th. TCU has a day of service twice a year, and so there will be lots of TCU students there. 2 of our members, excuse me, my voice, I think it's Mountain Cedar. What do y'all think?
Yeah.
Aggressive, right? It's native, but it's and I don't like it. Anyway, this program at Glenwood Park is growing. There's more and more organizations interested. The city is beginning to pay attention. The city moved forward on the master plan for the park. There are folks in the neighborhood who've been wanting improvements in this park for 40 years. And it's going to take a lot to get this settled. They have issues. That Glenwood Park is near, it's near the Presbyterian Night Shelter. It's near Lancaster. And so they have issues with, I believe the correct term now is unhoused people. And I'm not trying to be funny. You know, if someone says, this is the word that doesn't offend me, I'm going to try and use, that's just me. And so that's a big issue at Glenwood Park. Two of our members, Cross Timbers members, the nursing professors at TCU, Vicki Brooks and Gina Alexander, are the motivators for this, and it's pretty amazing. Progress can be slow, but then all of a sudden progress happens. So that'll be Glenwood Park on April 6th. Fort Worth Nature Center is having, they call it Nature Con because it sounds fashionable to people younger than me. It will be April 20th. I believe Grapevine, City of Grapevine is going to have an Earth Day event on April 20th. We'll be sending out requests for volunteers for both of those. And then the Fort Worth Museum of Science and History is having their Earth Day event on Sunday, the April 21st. I think that one may be indoors for those of us who are going to be there with our Cross Timbers chapter table. Any other announcements? Yes, Carol.
Randall Mill Park's birthday is also Saturday the 20th, April 20th.
Randall Mill Park in Arlington's Earth Day celebration will be Saturday, April 20th. And if you want to know about that, contact Carol Marcotte.
Right, and there'll be tons of volunteer opportunities.
Lots of volunteer opportunities, all pre-approved. All right, Carol Marcotte is CAROL period MAR. No, sorry. Carol at Carol Marcotte. You know how to spell Carol. MARCOTTE gmail.com, or contact membership at CTMN.org. Carol is our membership director. Membership at CTMN.org. Anything else? Yes.
May 11th will be the Monarch Festival at Oliver Nature Center in Mansfield.
Oliver Nature Center in Mansfield, May 11th. A couple of us did that work there last spring. It was a lot of fun. Will you all be releasing monarchs again?
I believe so.
Releasing some monarchs and enjoying nature.
Yeah, we'll take volunteers.
That is also an approved project. Well, our spring is busy. Josephine, could you bring me the tickets? Yes, ma'am. Another announcement? Oh, yes, thank you. Teresa Posani is trying to do something important, and that is to get information from any project leader. And how do we contact you?
Nurse2020@gmail.com.
Nurse, as in the profession, nurse2020. Oh, nurse teach 2020@gmail.com, or contact president@ctmn.org, and I'll forward it to Teresa Posani. We're trying to get our website updated and so forth. All right, so the official.
Hey, Sharon.
Yes.
Hey, this is Alexis Chernosky.
Okay, Alexis Chernosky is a project lead. Go ahead, Alexis.
Hey, so I actually just learned today about an opportunity, and I don't know that it's going to be a volunteer opportunity, but could be a fun research science contribution with regards to the total eclipse that we're going to experience here. You mentioned that earlier. I've been in touch with a research team from North Carolina and Canada who will be bringing students to the Fort Worth Zoo, and they will be doing animal behavior observations. They're looking for some participants to join in. So if anybody's interested, anyone can join, but specifically they're interested in high school students, if anyone school age would like to join.
Thank you, Alexis. I believe we have at least one member who's going to do some citizen science regarding the eclipse. There's a project where you order an acoustic monitor, or maybe I'm mixing. Anyway, you're listening for the sounds, which change, as you can imagine, in the minutes as the eclipse starts and goes through totality, and as it goes off. Well, the diurnal, the daytime animals get quiet and the nighttime animals get loud. And then all of a sudden they're confused again. And that is a citizen science. It may be through NASA. Okay, I didn't stop. Okay. I remembered what I was going to say. TMN Tuesdays. Sorry, y'all, you're stuck with me for another minute. TMN Tuesdays and the Texas Nature Trackers have two different mini symposia, about an hour and a half, 2 hours each, that have already occurred. But remember, you get AT credit for listening to this year's TMN Tuesdays. So I got an hour and a half listening to the January. They have, I believe, 25 or 50 acoustic monitors, the Texas Nature Trackers. Different chapters are going to start listening for bats. And we have one member who's willing to be the computer geek. But we need, and they will tell us where. I did see an area that looked like it might be in the Aledo area. They've got areas already laid out for where we would go and set up the acoustic monitor, and then we would begin to take the readings at a regular schedule. And if you want to ask questions, we'll go watch that TMN Tuesday mini symposium about bat monitoring. And that just sounds so cool. And they've already bought the equipment, so that's even better. All right, Mary Beth, and then you can.
Roseanne Giambro is a recently retired zoo professional and specializes in gorillas. And she once took a coast-to-coast trip, I think, with a gorilla. But who has heard about the C-section for the premature baby? You're looking at that baby's #1 babysitter during the day.
All right, the meeting's adjourned. I am going to, for those of you who are here, I'm going to start reading some numbers from the It's Not a Raffle. Please get something to drink, enjoy.